Hey, Drew and I are breaking down the Bucks playing the Knicks in an in-season tournament game. Win or go home, aren't we, Drew?
Yes, sir. Put up or shut up.
Next, I'm breaking down Bucks. Yes, sir. Breaking down Bucks. We're a little short-handed today, but I think we'll make do. Drew, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Let's get right into it. NBA in-season tournament game tonight for the NBA Cup quarterfinals. What have you thought about the in-season tournament so far, Drew?
Still completely confused about the entire thing. Do the stats from this game count like towards the season stats because it's technically an extra game? Does that count towards career points totals and rebound totals, or is that I have no idea. I can tell you that I'm happy that the Bucks are in it. It makes it more fun to watch, but still completely confused.
Yeah, I was wondering the same. I believe it's an extra game, so it doesn't go towards our record, I don't believe.
Right.
As far as the stats are concerned, I don't know. I'd like to ask our viewers, if you guys know, let us know down in the comments. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, don't get it.
But I don't know what I feel about.
Definitely wants these stats to go. Julius Randle definitely wants the stats for tonight to count towards career numbers.
Right. He had a monster game. We'll get into that in a minute. I wanted to stay on the in-season tournament game. Besides the confusion, there's been some ramped up energy, I feel. Did you catch out the Indiana and Boston game last night?
Yeah, I caught bits and pieces of it. Halliburton looks great. I mean, he looks really, really good. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. We got the new banner scrolling across the bottom.
Right.
Yeah, dude, I'm digging it. I think it's good. I hope everybody's still paying attention a little bit to what we say, but I understand if you get distracted. Sorry, Indiana. Yeah, Indiana looked really, really good. Boston was missing Porzingis, so they're obviously weak. I don't want to say weak, but definitely weaker on the interior. And when their shots aren't falling, the energy in Indiana seemed like it was really, really good that night too.
Right. And I don't know if that was just for the tournament game or because I haven't been on national TV in like 5 years. But it was hooping last night. It was very enjoyable hoops to watch. So I'm looking forward to the Bucks playing Indiana next in Vegas. So although it doesn't sound like Giannis was too excited about going there and being away from his family during his birthday.
Thankfully, he didn't throw the game because of it.
Right. He was clearly playing hard. So,
yeah.
So let's jump right into the Bucks game. A little bit of back and forth in the first quarter there, Drew. Pretty typical for the Bucks this year, right?
Right. Kind of same old song and dance. They just can't start hot for whatever reason. And if the offense is going, the defense is just leaking like a sieve. So,
yeah, it didn't seem like there was a lot of energy being put forth on the defensive end, just kind of trying to outscore them. Like I said, back and forth. Giannis rolled his ankle up there early. I was wondering if he was going to get pulled out of the game, but he kind of just played through it. Wondering if that'll have an effect on the next game.
I mean, the in-season tournament seems like it's been a really good idea up to this point, up until somebody like Giannis gets hurt playing in one of these games. That is going to be disastrous for the league.
The other thing I was contemplating is there are rules in place to prevent teams from sitting players. And if you get to the championship game here, you're playing 3 extra games. Shouldn't you get another chance to rest some of your star players?
That's a great question. I hope that is actually part of the deal. I have no idea if that is or not. If it's not, it should be, and should be worked in if they're going to continue doing this, because give guys the extra rest if they have to play the extra games.
Right, I agree. And if you happen to know, let us know in the comments. We'd appreciate it. I thought the Bucks did a really good job in the first of getting offensive rebounds, and that kind of gave us a little bit of a lift. Although we couldn't stop Randall in the first quarter. He was 6 of 6, 12 points in the first, Drew.
And I mean, he stayed efficient, fairly efficient through the rest of the game. I feel like it's just kind of a defensive effort thing, right? Like if you get out on Julius Randle and you pressure him a little bit, he's going to take bad shots, and they just weren't able to do that.
Yeah, he didn't take very many bad shots. Over the years, I've watched a lot of Knicks games, and I'm always perplexed why he's shooting so many threes. And tonight, I only think he put up 2 threes. Was really efficient for him.
Yeah, and he made both of them.
Right. Yeah, so the Bucks finished the first up 35-37, and Milwaukee got up to a little bit of a lead there in the second quarter. They hit 9 of their first 10 shots, but really couldn't create much separation, at least as much separation as you would expect, hitting 90% of your shots in the early part of the second quarter.
Right. I believe they only won that quarter by a point. And that kind of just goes back to first quarter, first half. You could score a lot of points, but if you score 38 and you give up 37, it's pretty much a wash.
Right, exactly. And Randall ended up finishing 9 of 9 from the field in the first half, ridiculously efficient. And multiple Bucks got a chance to slow him down and just really couldn't. The Bucks finished with a 3-point lead in the first half, 72-75. There were 10 ties and 15 lead changes, Drew.
Definition of a back and forth game. Also definition of the first quarter of the Milwaukee Bucks season.
Right. So the Bucks were on pace to give up 142 points.
They scored 146.
And they scored 146. So just atrocious defense. And I'm sick of seeing it, quite frankly. It's not championship level defense. Now, I know people have brought to my attention that scoring is up in general in the league, but still in all, you got to defend to get chips, do you not, Drew?
You do, but you don't have to really defend in December to get a chip. And it looks like with an older team, they're willing to take that risk. They're willing to say, look, we're just not going to play really aggressive, hard defense in first halves of games for the first half of the season. If the league is going to come down and say we can't rest our players when we want to rest our players, then we are going to play at the pace that we want to play. And they're saving steps, they're saving energy, and knock on some wood, they're saving injury.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah, during the third there, Brook got going a little bit. He was playing off his jumper and had a nice slash to the cup, which he's been doing more of this year, I feel like.
Wants to show off that athleticism, feeling young, feeling sprung.
Well, I think he's getting guys running at him to get him off the three-point line because he's such a good shooter, and he's able to, play off of that to get to the cup and finish around the cup on some ugly layups.
If it works, it works. Go get a bucket. Get buckets or die trying.
Get buckets or die trying. There's no style points in getting buckets.
There is not.
Well, there might be, but they all count for 2.
I used to always tell the kids when we coached, the most important thing about shooting is making it.
I can't deny that. I cannot deny that. As a guy that has Sean Marion type of shooting form, I cannot deny that. There was I don't know if you noticed this, Drew. There was a sequence when Giannis was defending Julius Randle hard, and he actually got knocked to the ground. And I was really disappointed with the rest of the Bucks because they quit playing. It's almost like they expected a call, didn't get it, and then just gave up a layup.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys out there that really aren't used to playing with Giannis, and they're not used to, and so they're kind of just used to watching him play. And I know it's later on in the season now, but they still do. There's a lot of guys on that team that expect Giannis to get those calls, and when he doesn't, maybe it's that millennial mentality that some of those guys have.
Perhaps. And maybe they were reacting off the crowd because you could kind of hear the crowd gasp, I guess. And maybe maybe everybody in the building was shocked Giannis didn't get that call. I don't know, but poor effort regardless.
We've seen it.
Yeah, and the Bucks finished the third with a 14-point lead. They outscored the Knicks 37-24 in the third and led 112-96 entering the fourth. And then they just continued to extend the lead, Drew. Campaign hit a three, got the Bucks up 20, and they just balled out from there.
Yeah, the Bucks really shot it well tonight. And it's good to see them kind of being able to get some separation in that third quarter as well. They've struggled coming out of halftime in games that they shouldn't have struggled coming out of halftime. I got a question for you, Z. What did you think of the crowd energy overall tonight?
I thought it was good. I thought it was really good, with the exception of the start of the third quarter again. There's always those open seats. I don't know if they got to start serving beers faster or getting bathroom lines down or what the deal is, but it's a late arriving third quarter crowd, which isn't as embarrassing as a late arriving first quarter crowd like in Miami, but ours is, mostly alcohol related, I think.
Yeah, almost exclusively alcohol related and bathroom usage related. So just to kind of quick piggyback off of that, do you think that there's any correlation between that and the rumored? So I heard that tickets for this game were significantly less expensive. Did you hear this also?
No, but it would make sense because it's an extra game.
Right. So there were no season ticket holder games for this game. And I think they purposely chose to sell the tickets for a little bit cheaper than normal. I think it was rumored you could get in the building for like $12.
Well, there's a short turnaround time too, right? They just found out they're playing two games 2 days ago, I believe.
So do you, my question is, do you think there's a correlation between the fan interaction and the ability of people, not being priced out for decent seats at a Bucks game?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a well-known thing in sports that the real fans aren't sitting up front because we just don't have the money for real.
So I think it's kind of a cool concept if you're going to do that and get that extra game to sell those tickets for a little bit cheaper, get some people that normally wouldn't be able to get those seats to be able to get those seats. And they're going to be really into that game, right?
Yeah. I think you could feel that tonight. It was loud in there, but there was a lot to cheer about. The ball was going through the hoop. So, yeah, Drew, the Bucks were shooting the ball really well tonight.
Extremely well. 60% from three is about as good as you're going to see in an NBA game. And when you kind of couple that with the way that the Knicks shot the three ball, that was definitely the difference in the game.
Yeah, and Giannis 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double, I believe.
2 rebounds. He had the assists. He had the points. You would think that the rebounds for Giannis would be the easy one of the 3 to get, or that at least somebody on the coaching staff was letting him know in the last couple of minutes of the game, like, hey, man, go grab 2 rebounds and grab another triple-double. But maybe he's just past that in his career, and he just doesn't care if he hasn't.
Possibly. And AJ Green got going early, but didn't really see much of him in the second half, although he had 3 threes in the first half. Always like to see AJ shooting the ball well.
Yeah, you know the streets are starting to call him, right?
AJ Automatic?
No, sir.
Age?
Pale Ellis.
Okay. I kind of
The streets are calling him Pale Ellis.
The thing is, you got to be a seasoned Bucks fans to get that reference. I would be willing to bet that our 2 other co-hosts would not get that. That would go over their head. Yeah. Right? Shout out to Dale Ellis shooting threes for Seattle and the Bucks. And where else did he have stops at? Any idea?
I don't know.
If you know, let us know in the comments. Did Dale Ellis play for anybody but the Sonics and the Bucks? Didn't need much space. Let that thing fly. Yeah. In an era where they didn't shoot a ton of threes.
Right. Before his time. So we rolling with Pale Ellis. Give us a thumbs up.
It's a thumbs up for me. That's the first thumbs up of the year. What about from you?
Oh, I'm going thumbs up.
Nice.
Thumbs up on Pale
Ellis.
Yeah.
What do you guys think in the comments? Y'all like Pale Ellis? I kind of messed with that. Anyways, so the Bucks finished. They finally were able to put a team away and kind of just blow them out. First blowout since. What do you think? Who did we blow out this year? I think we only have one other blowout.
Yeah, none of them felt like blowouts, But this felt like the best win since the Dallas game.
Okay.
The Dallas game felt like that was a good win. And this felt like this is the appropriate amount we should be beating the New York Knicks by.
Right. But the Knicks were playing hard.
Yeah, they wanted to win.
What do you think of this Knicks squad?
I really like their backcourt, and I really like their bench. Their bench didn't play super well for them tonight, but I really like Josh Hart, and I really like Quickly. I think they're very, very good. And yeah, that's probably my favorite thing about their team is their point guard and their bench.
You like Harvestein?
Sure. I mean, I've never been like a big lunch pail guy. I couldn't name you like my top 5 all-time lunch pail guys. You might be able to though.
I like.
You got a top 5 lunch pail guy?
Off the top of my head, I'm going with like Dale Davis and Antonio Davis, Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley. I want my lunch pail guys to be power forwards that will beat the shit out of you in any given moment. That's what I'm looking for from a lunch pail guy. So Terry Cummings, I'll throw
those guys played for the Knicks.
Yeah, a few of them played for the Knicks. I like them Knicks tough guys back in the 90s.
Yeah. Did you like Anthony Mason when he played for the Bucks?
I loved the signing at the time. Loved it. And I bet you did too. I thought it was going to be perfect.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be perfect. We got a power forward that can push the ball with all these shooters.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Everything. Ended up in a trade, Ray Allen to Seattle, and the franchise didn't rebound for 20 years. Yeah, we're going to send Ray Allen to Seattle for a bag of dicks. Thank you.
Oh, I did love Anthony Mason. So you're saying you did not love Anthony Mason as a man?
I didn't love the way it ended up, but I was happy about it at the time. But you just got him at the very end of his career where he didn't give a shit.
He was one of those first point forwards, though.
He was. Who's the original point forward?
It might be Anthony Mason.
It might be Marcus Johnson.
Might be Marcus Johnson.
All right, a couple things I want to get into. Just a reminder, we do have a Twitter/X account. Please go follow us there and subscribe, whatever you do there. Ask us questions. We'll definitely feature the questions on the next pod. Quite honestly, it makes for a better pod when you guys ask questions. So it's at Breaking DN Bucks. So yeah, go follow us. We'd appreciate it. Next, I just want to get into a couple questions from subscribers. From Brian Brody, 2803, down near Atlanta. He says, Rust, I would like to hear from you and your esteemed colleagues about who should pick up Connaughton's minutes. And then Dave Scalf responded, Marjan all day. What are your thoughts, Drew?
Yeah, my initial thought is Marjan all day. He's got to play better, though. I mean, I want him to have those minutes, but he's got to go out and earn those minutes. And right now, nobody is going out and earning those minutes. Maybe Cameron Payne.
Maybe Cameron Payne. Yeah, I think it's a toss-up. They're giving opportunities to Ajax and AJ Green and Marjan, and no one's really stepped up, I don't think. Barely saw Ajax tonight. I'm not even sure he played. But yeah, I would give all those guys opportunity and see who takes advantage of it. Who am I rooting for? Who do I think has the biggest upside? Marjan. So
yeah, he's got the potential to be an incredible defender. I mean, he's got length, he's got speed, he's got athleticism. Like, he's got all the physical tools he's just got to put it together.
Right. You can finish on fast breaks, finish in traffic. Yeah. Next question from one of our users, Pontooners. They asked, what is the worst Bucks signing in the last 15 years? Delly for 4 years, $39 million. Miles Plumlee for 4 years, $52 million. Drew Gooden for 4 years, $40 million. Corey Maggette for 4 years, $37 million. Anybody stand out there to you, Drew, or does somebody else come to mind?
I mean, I got a couple others that come to mind, but I'm going to keep it to this list, I'm going to go with the Corey Maggette contract. There was a lot of hype when the Bucks signed Corey Maggette, and that was a little bit before, like 4 years, $37 million. When we signed Corey Maggette to that money, that was a lot of money. Yeah, I'm going to go with Maggette.
Yeah, from that list there, I'm going to say Miles Plumlee, 4 years, $52 million. But that $52 million isn't really the same as Corey Maggette's $37 million. You know what I mean? It's a little down the line there. That Delly contract too, $39 million for him, I guess. One other guy that comes to mind for me is John Salmons. Remember when we signed him or re-upped him after that playoff run he had? He had a nice little run where Brandon Jennings got hurt, and we almost took out the first seed Atlanta Hawks, Coach Bud's Hawks, in the first round with Luke Rittenauer, John Salmons, and duct tape. Do you remember that run?
I do. I very much remember that run.
Yeah, and we gave Salmons a ton of money, and then he just disappeared, came in out of shape, didn't really give a shit. Salmons was one of those guys that you wanted for contract year, but that's it.
Yeah, except you get him in that contract year, and then he plays out of his mind, and then you get baited into signing into a long-term deal, and that's exactly what happened. Out of these four, who do you think what's the best contract?
Oh man,
is it Drew Gooden because he got Aaron Rodgers involved in the Bucks franchise?
I remember at the end, Drew wasn't even getting clock at the end of that run.
Right. He was
all these other guys were at least playing for us, so it's really tough to say. Those are some bad contracts. Drew by default, I guess.
Drew by default. I'm gonna go with Drew as well.
And then next, I just kind of wanted to touch base about Squad 6, Drew. What do you know about Squad 6?
I know a little bit. I know that they were a rabid fan base. They were allowed to have instruments in the arena. There weren't a lot of people going to Bucks games back then. So you could hear pretty much everything that they said and yelled at the players. And I think as the years kind of went by, it tamed down before it eventually tapered off. But I remember it when it first started, before they put them, at the end of the court, when they were like in the middle, in the lower bowl, and we're allowed to have a snare drum and coordinated chants. And I believe they had auditions that you had to audition to make it. So
prove your fanhood.
Prove your fanhood. Yeah, I believe that's true. If anybody can confirm that, that would be great.
Let us know down in the comments. But I believe it was started by Andrew Bogut, who got tired of seeing an empty arena in the basement that was the Bradley Center. I mean, just look at that picture. Look how dark that arena is. Like, it looks like a basement. And this was really low rent NBA in the early 2000s here. I remember working for a guy that was out of Chicago that went to a game, and he was just like clowning on the whole atmosphere, acting like he said it was a college atmosphere and just a minor league setting, basically, and big time in us from Chicago, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was originally designed for. I mean, Bogut was from Australia, and then he played at Utah and kind of fell in love with that college atmosphere. And then going from that, I mean, honestly, like his last year of college, the Utah fans were louder than the NBA Bucks fans were. I mean, he was just sick of being in an empty arena. So he bought up an entire section for the entire year and gave the tickets away. And we're like, please, like, have a couple drinks and come in here and like stream. And dude, it worked a little bit.
It worked a little bit, but this was deep in the just dark years of Milwaukee Bucks basketball. The Christmas colors, gross. The arena falling apart. The product on the floor in purgatory, right? They weren't horrible. They would just sit there in that 8-9 seed, just good enough to get waxed in the first round.
Yeah, or just barely miss the playoffs and not be able to get a good draft pick. I mean, those were the days where you could like pick out individual fans in the seats and be like, oh, like Sam sitting over in section 112, row 24, seat 6. And you could like hear individuals yell things during the game. It was very weird. It was like something out of a movie.
You know, kind of a blast from the past for me was in my favorite local sports media personality, rest in peace, Steve Haywood.
Oh, Steve was the best, man. I was fortunate enough to get to know him a little bit before his passing. I'll never forget a night we were playing the San Antonio Spurs, and this was when they were good, man, like real good. And everybody was kind of sitting there, and I'm in my little media spot radio row right behind the opposing bench, and Steve walks in late, and all the players are walking on the court, and it's quiet, and he just screams, "Gonna be a long night, fellas."
And it was a long night. It was a long night, I'm sure.
Night. That was Steve, though. He was very brutally honest, and he was a good person to be around.
Right. He kept it real at all times. So
yes, sir.
And then lastly, Drew, I wanted to get into kind of a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And I kind of want to know if this is a Wisconsin tradition or part of our culture, or just unique to South Central Wisconsin, where I grew up in Janesville. But we had some of our first snowfalls here recently, and we are now deep in the heart of garage hopping season. And I want to know, Drew, did you guys garage hop in Milwaukee growing up? And first of all, are you familiar to what garage hopping is?
I am now familiar with what garage hopping is.
Let me explain to our viewers who may not know, but when it gets cold enough in Wisconsin, instead of taking all your fridge space inside to store your beer and liquor, you can now put it in the garage and free yourself up some space in the refrigerator. And it's very common for Wisconsinites to do so. And me, as a dirty little teenager growing up in Janesville, where everybody starts drinking in 7th, 8th grade, you know, because we are a GM town and our parents are drunks because they're trying to deal with the monotony of, factory life. We started robbing our neighbors for beers and liquor right out of their garage, 7th, 8th grade. So you guys didn't do that in Milwaukee?
Yeah, we stayed away from stealing anything from anybody's garage in our neighborhood because that was typically not a recipe for something good to happen. If you knew the person, like you might break in and be like, okay, well, this is like Jim's house, and like I know his parents keep their liquor stash in here. Like then you might do it if it was something like that, but you wouldn't break into a stranger's.
Right. So it sounds like a recipe for disaster, not only in the mill, but probably in the rest of society today, where everybody's so gun happy and ready to shoot people and just angry in general.
Yeah, we were not taking that chance.
That makes sense.
For sure not.
Let us know in the comments, though, if you were garage hopping as a youth. Let me know if you have any unique stories to where you grew up. And what age did you guys start drinking? Let us know in the comments. I'm curious to find out. And really, that's all I have for breaking down Bucks today, unless you have anything else for me, Drew.
No. Congratulations on the new banner, though. I do dig it. It's caused me to get a little distracted more than once. So next pod, we're touching on the John Crotty 10-day contract.
Right. For sure. Well, I appreciate you joining me, Drew. Appreciate all the subscribers out there. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe and comment if you could. But other than that, we will see you Saturday for the next in-season tournament game from Vegas, where we'll be breaking down Bucks. We'll see you then.
Yes, sir. Good night.